What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and today we are doing a bit of a big video, and it's going to be ranking every single Toyota sports car from worst to best. Now, here's a couple things, couple disclaimers. No, Lexi, whatever you want to call them, are not included in this list. I will do a Lexus video separately, but Toyota cars that have Lexus counterparts are. So like the Altezza, the Soarer, that is included in this list. Another thing is, obviously, guys, there's going to be one or two cars that I missed. There is 41 total that I could think of, so that's nice, but there's going to be a couple I missed. So if I do miss one and you realize that, let me know in the comments section, and I will, oh hey, there's a Lexus SC300 right there. I will tell you where I think that belongs. The next disclaimer is, this is all based on personal opinion. There are some things that factor into it, like price, performance, stuff like that, but it's mainly just whether or not I like it. So don't get too offended if your favorite car is at the bottom of the list or your least favorite car is at the top of the list. That's going to happen. People have different opinions, and that's kind of how the world works. And the last thing I want to say before we actually get into the list is, these are almost all sports cars. However, there are a couple that I'm including that aren't technically sports cars, but just have cool features about them, like the Toyota Century that came with the V12, that's included, and something like the Toyota Previa, which is just a really cool fast van, are included as well. So most of them are sports cars, so don't expect me to be rating like your Toyota Camry from 2004, but if you want to see an actual sports car that I forgot from Toyota, let me know. Either way, getting right into the video with number 43, there's actually 43, so I was a little bit wrong, but 43 is going to all the Toyota race cars. I'm just going to bunch these up into one big group. I'm talking any LMP1 car. Obviously, I'll have pictures up on the screen right now of what I'm talking about, but any sort of Toyota race car, in my opinion, it's last. Not because I don't like them, but just because it's a little bit boring for this list. I feel like most people are just going to be a little annoyed if like Toyota race cars are up higher, so I'm just going to put them down here. They're cool, obviously. Obviously, I'd love to own a Toyota race car, but they're a race car. They're not like a street legal car or anything like that. Coming in at number 42 is going to the Toyota Previa. The Toyota Previa is that minivan that they came out with that everybody loves because it has a 2J in it, I'm pretty sure. Or it has some good motor in it. And yeah, it's pretty cool that way. But I don't know, man. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I just don't... I get that it's cool because it's like unique, but compared to the rest of Toyota's lineup, it's not really anything special to me. Coming in at the number 41 spot is going to the Toyota Paseo or Paseo. Once I had to like look up a list of all Toyotas ever made for this video, and this is one of the ones that I didn't even know existed. After doing a little bit of research on it, not that impressed with it. Doesn't come with the greatest motor. It looks pretty ugly. It's just lightweight. That's about it. But yeah, I mean, I can see how it could appeal to somebody. I just don't like the looks of it that much. Anyway, coming in at the number 40 spot is going to the Toyota Corolla T Sport. I don't think we got the Corolla T Sport in America, if I'm being honest, which does kind of suck because this thing's actually pretty cool. It's a little hatchback, little Corolla hatchback. Was that my dad? It was my dad. Little Corolla hatchback, and it looks pretty fun. Obviously, it's not super fast or anything like that. It's just a Corolla, but it's almost like the new Corolla TRDs. It's kind of like that. It's just, you know, it's like a fun little sporty hatchback. Coming in at number 39 is going to the Toyota Century. Once again, this is not really a sports car. It's more on the side of incredible luxury car. But it does come with a V12, and it's the only Toyota to ever come with a V12, so I decided I'm going to put it on this list. I like it because it has that V12. That's pretty cool. Besides that, not my style in the slightest bit. Too heavy, too slow, not that great. Coming in at number 38 is going to the 4th generation Toyota Celica. This is, in my opinion, my least favorite. It just, in terms of the Celica lineup, it's just not that great. It's just boring. Like, there's so much. Celica is a cool line, and I really like Celica, whereas a lot of other people don't. I do. I like Celica, but not the 4th gen. It's just boring compared to the rest. There's not anything super special about the 4th gen that separates it from the rest of the generations. So it's here at 38. Coming in at number 37 is going to the 2nd generation Toyota Celica. This one's just ugly. I'm not gonna lie. I think it looks absolutely horrible. I know I'm probably gonna be, somebody's gonna be like, "You're an idiot for saying that." Hey, buddy, listen, pal, listen, friend, listen, bucko. I'm my own man. You got it? I don't like it that much. This is also technically the first generation of the Toyota Supra, so that's, I guess, pretty cool. You know, it started the Supra line, but besides that, doesn't really have much going for it, to be honest. Coming in at the number 36 spot is going to the wonderful Toyota Camry TRD. This car gets a lot of love right now. I don't personally think it deserves all that love. It's a cool car, you know, don't get me wrong. It's a cool Camry for sure, but it's still kind of stock. Like, the only difference between the Camry TRD and the normal Camry is suspension pieces, not like engine performance. And so it's really not that fast or anything. It just kind of looks a little bit cooler than the rest of the Camry lineup. Coming in at number 35, however, is going to the Toyota Corolla S. The Corolla S, I always recommend buying for less than 5K because it really is a good option for under 5K. They're very cheap right now, which is really cool. They're decently quick. I think they have like 120 horsepower, so they're obviously not super quick, but they can get the job. They can be fun. They're lightweight and they're incredibly reliable because they're a Corolla, which is really cool. So they have a good package there, but it's just boring in terms of Toyota's lineup. There's just so many good cars from Toyota that this does not crack the top 20 in my opinion. But coming in at number 34 is going to the Toyota Zelas. The Toyota Zelas is the Scion TC, but rebadged for the Japanese market, obviously. It's the Scion TC. It's, once again, it's like the Corolla, oh, goodness gracious. It's like the Corolla S that we just talked about, but a little bit cooler looking and a little bit more fun oriented. And so I put it one spot higher. I like the looks of the Zelas, but that's about all I like the looks of, so that's it. Coming in at number 33 is going to the Soarer Z40, which is also the Lexus SC430. This is my least favorite of the Soarers by far. I know it's technically like the fastest and it's the newest with the nicest technology and all that stuff, but it just looks horrible. I can't get over the looks of it. I'm sorry, I don't like it at all. It's still a Soarer, which still makes it cool, but it could have been a whole lot cooler than what it is right now. Coming in at number 32 is going to the Toyota Sera. The Toyota Sera is a bit underrated in my opinion. A lot of people just don't even talk about this car, don't even know this car exists. And it's like one of the more unique cars that Toyota's ever made. Now, in terms of performance, it actually is really just not fast at all. It's not a fast car in the slightest bit, but it has gull wing doors on it. And it's really lightweight. And it has like the weirdest little windows. This guy is like driving like an absolute moron. I hate other people on the road, guys. I'm sorry. I have to say that. This guy is driving like an idiot. But freaking, oh, it's probably that guy in front of him actually, not him, but yeah, but either way, back to the Sera. The Sera's a cool car. I like it a little bit. I like how it looks, but that's about it. I mean, if it wasn't for the incredible looks, the Sera would be much lower on the list. Coming in at the number, where are we? 31. Coming in at 31st is going to the Toyota Aristo first generation. The first gen Aristo is actually the generation that came with the II JZ, but it was a very watered down version of the II JZ before the MK4 Supra got the II JZ, which they then put in the second generation. So the first gen Aristo, in my opinion, looks horrible compared to the second gen, and it's literally just slower in every way over the second generation. And so for that, I'm absolutely putting it at the number 31 spot, a lot lower than the other second gen Aristo. Still a really cool car though. It's rear wheel drive, and these cars are actually modified a lot in other countries, which is pretty cool. But just here in America, where we have the GS300 and we have, well, we can import other cars, I don't really see the point in importing a first gen Aristo when you can just import a second gen. Coming in at 30, breaking its way into the top 30, is the Soarer Z10. This is the first ever Toyota Soarer, and it's pretty cool. I like how it looks in terms of it's like very retro styling, but at the same time, the second gen, in my opinion, is just better in absolutely every single way. And so I feel like if I were to buy one of these first two Soarers, it would absolutely be the second gen, and the first gen is just pointless in a way. But coming in at number 29th is going to the third generation Toyota Celica. The third gen Celica, I actually got to experience one of these. I didn't get to drive it, but I got to sit in the passenger seat of one of these cars, and maybe that's why I put it so much higher than the fourth gen and the second gen. But the third gen, it just felt nice, man. It felt very retro. It felt very 70s, 80s styling to it, and it was just a enjoyable time. I was smiling from ear to ear. It's not the fastest out there. It's not the best looking out there. It's not the most reliable out there. It's not the best handling. It doesn't get the best gas mileage. It's not the most comfortable. but it just felt like a nice car to own. Like, it felt well, it felt planted. I liked it a lot, so it gets the 29th spot. Coming in at the number 28th spot is going to the Toyota Levin AE111. This car is underrated as hell. I didn't even know it existed before I started making this video, and I absolutely fell in love with it the second I started talking about it, or started doing research on it. It looks incredible, first of all. It looks really, really good, but it's also like, imagine if Toyota made an Integra. That's like what the Levin AE111 is. It's just this front-wheel drive, cool-looking, lightweight little handling monster. Yes, it's not the fastest, but it's just good. In my opinion, it's pretty freaking cool, dude. So I don't know, I like it a lot, but I might be the outlier there. Next up is going to the wonderful stinking mother trucking Toyota Crown Coupe. Oh my god, I almost just died. The Toyota Crown Coupe was another car that I found out about when I was doing research for this video. And it's just, in my opinion, for Toyota, it's very average. It's right there in the middle of the pack. It's not special, but it's not bad. It's just an average car. Could be better, for sure. But yeah, it's very old, too, which is really cool. I mean, I like the old cars, obviously. With a wide body kit, these Crown Coupes look pretty cool. Speaking of old cars, coming in at number 26 is going to the Toyota S800. This is like one of Toyota's very first ever sports cars. It actually might be the first ever sports car, if I'm not mistaken. And it looks really hilarious. It looks like a car that like somebody would drive like in the world that Despicable Me is in. Like it got a really large roof, but then the rest of the body's really low and like slim. It looks hilarious. But besides that, I don't know anything really about the performance. It obviously probably isn't that good because it's a very old car built back in the 60s, but it looks pretty interesting. It looks pretty cool. Coming in at number 25 is going to the Toyota Tacoma X Runner. X Runner. He used to run, lost his legs, now he can't run anymore. Used to be a runner. It's a truck that is turned into a sports truck. Sometimes these things work. In my opinion, I think the Toyota Tacoma X Runner did work pretty well. I think it looks pretty interesting. But besides that, I don't think I'd really enjoy driving a Toyota. I would rather own a Toyota Tacoma, just normal like truck, than the X Runner, if that makes any sense. And so I can't really put it that much higher. It is cool to see a truck be turned into like a performance vehicle from Toyota though, so I do got to give it the number 25 spot. Coming in at number 24 is going to the Toyota Aristo 2nd generation. Here it is, the GS300. Everybody likes it, everybody knows it for what it does. Came with the II JZX90, pretty cool. In America, we didn't get that in the GS300 version, but it's still a really cool car. I like it a lot, but in terms of like the Toyota Lexus collab, where you got the Altezza, the Soarers, and the Aristos, and the Celsiors because of the freaking LS400, the Aristo, in my opinion, is probably my least favorite, so that's why it gets the number 24 spot. But coming in at 23rd is going to the Toyota Celica 5th generation. Love this car, one of the first GT4s. I think it was the first GT4, unless the 4th gen Celica had a GT4, but I don't think it did. So I think the 5th gen was the first one to come out with the GT4 Celica, which is really cool. Has the pop-up headlights still, but I cannot get over the rear end on the 5th gen Celicas. I hate the looks of the rear end on the 5th gen Celicas. There is a Hyundai Genesis Coupe behind me with no front bumper. Looks pretty interesting. But anyway, yeah, I just hate the rear end of these 5th gen Celicas. If they had a cooler rear, if it was well rounded out, I would like it a lot better, but because of that, I just can't do it. I can't do it. Coming in at 22nd is going to the Toyota MR2 Spyder. I think this car is incredibly underrated, to be honest. I think people talk about like the MR2 SW20 and the AW11, but they never talk about the Spyder when they absolutely should. The Spyder is just better. It really is. It may not look as good as the other two, but it performs way better. They handled a lot of the snap oversteer issues, so it handles that better. It's just a good car. It's an all-around well-made sports car by Toyota. It doesn't look that great, I understand that, but in terms of performance, it's very, very good. Coming in at the number 21 spot is going to the Toyota Mark II. The Toyota Mark II JZX90, whatever you want to call it, is like the mini Chaser. That's about it. It's pretty cool looking. They're really cheap actually, for an import at least. They're like $9,000 for a good one, which is really surprising. But I mean, compared to the actual Chaser JZX100, it just ain't nothing, friend. It ain't nothing. Alright. Coming in at number 20 is going to the Starlet Glanza V. The Toyota Starlet Glanza V. this is a cool ass hatchback. I don't usually like hatchbacks, you guys know that, but I like these weird like Japanese, like underrated hatchbacks. Like I like the Pulsar, I like the Mazda 323, I like this Starlet Glanza V. It's cool. Would I buy it? Probably not, but it is just, it's a cool looking little car, man. It's a cool looking little car. But breaking its way into the 19th position is going to the 7th generation Toyota Celica. This is the newest one, the one that I think everybody kind of thinks of when they think of Toyota Celica. I like the looks. Everything else kind of doesn't live up to the Celica name. They also never came out with a 7th gen GT4, which sucks if they did that. I'm sure this car would be talked about a whole lot more than it is right now. Like, this is why you don't turn on red if you can't, moron. What are you doing? Go! Yeah, see, someone's beeping. I don't know who. I don't think he's beeping at me. He's beeping at this moron. Goodness gracious, guys. Oh, they could live with a freaking eye out of this. Where was I? 7th gen Celica, that's 19th. It's pretty cool. I like its looks. Doesn't handle that great. 18th SR5 AE85, AE86. For some reason, I always get that mixed up. But it's the Toyota Corolla SR5 is what it's called, and it's it's like the coupe version of the AE86. It's just a watered down version of the AE86. However, I do like the coupe version's looks better. But considering the performance is a little bit worse than the AE86's performance, I'm gonna put it a lot lower at number 18 because the AE86 is just better than it in every way. Coming in at number 17 is going to the Z20 Soarer, which is technically the 2nd generation of the Soarer. This thing is sick looking. And now in terms of performance, yeah, it ain't the greatest. It wasn't meant to be the greatest though. It's a luxury car, friends. Okay, everybody always forgets that. Everybody thinks that these Soarers are meant to be like sports cars. They're not. They were meant to be luxury cars. And the Soarer Z20 was a good luxury car at its time. It also just looks really, really cool. I think it looks awesome. It's got that boxy retro styling to it. The whole Soarer line is incredibly underrated in my opinion. I like it a lot. The Soarer Z20 is super freaking sick. Coming in at the number 16 spot is going to the wonderful GR Yaris. This car's been getting a lot of hype recently. Do I think it deserves the hype? Not as much as it gets, but it definitely is really cool. It is a cool hatchback. I'm not going to argue that. It's very cool, and it's cool that Toyota even made that. But I think there are just so many better options for a hatchback out there right now that I don't see the hype behind this one really holding up for that much longer. The GR Corolla, that's a different story, but the GR Yaris, I don't know. It just ain't as special as some other ones I've seen. Still really cool though, obviously. It's at my number 16 spot. Coming in at number 15 is going to Toyota Altezza, which for Americas is the Lexus IS300. Very cool car. I'm pretty sure the Altezza got a beefed up 2J, not the 2J that came in the Mark 4 Supra, but I think it got a better 2JZGE, whereas we got the watered down version of the 2JZGE, which does kind of suck. But it's still a really cool car even in America, so I can only imagine how cool it is overseas where it's the Altezza. Very good drift car, looks incredible. It's pretty luxurious too. I like it a lot. Coming in at the number 14 spot is going to the MR2 AW11, which is the very first MR2. Snap oversteer is crazy on this one. I know everybody doesn't like it when I say snap oversteer, but it happens, okay? And I gotta let the kiddies know. There's snap oversteer on this car and it's a little bit wild. But that's okay, because if you can manage to handle it, it's a good car. Excuse me, goodness gracious. Getting like allergies going on in here. I don't know why. I don't even have allergies, but yeah, it's a good car. I like the MR2 AW11. Would I buy one? Probably not, actually. I don't think I ever would. It's just too small, too old for me, but it is a really cool car. Coming in at the number 13 spot is going to the Toyota Supra Mark III. Yes, friendo, that's right. The Mark Trace Supra. I love the Mark Trace Supra. It is, in my opinion, looks better than almost anything Toyota has ever made. I love the looks of the Mark III Supra. However, the performance is just really not there when we talk about some of the other cars that Toyota has made, and the impact that the Mark III Supra has is also just not really there. It's not super legendary. It didn't do anything super crazy or fantastic or anything like that. So unfortunately, I'm not going to put it much higher, but I do love it. If it was just based on looks, I would put this car in the top 3 at least. Coming in at number 12 is going to the GT86, or the BRZ FRS. So technically the first generation of the 86. It's a really cool car, dude. I like them. I don't even care what anybody says. They're rear wheel drive, which is awesome. They're incredibly lightweight. They're like a newer Miata, with more space. It's amazing. I see some slander about BRZs and stuff like that online, and I don't really get it, man. It's like, it's not meant to be like a muscle car fast in a straight line. It's meant to handle really well, and it does its job pretty good. I like it. I like the first gen GT86. They also look incredible. You can't even argue that. Like, the BRZs, they look good. Coming in at the number 11 spot is going to the GR Corolla. Here it is, baby. The car that's ranting and raving. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody wants one. Your mother wants one. Your father wants one. Your dog wants one. Your pastor wants one if you're religious. Everybody wants one. GR Corolla sitting at number 11. I wanted to put it into the top 10. I really did, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. It is really cool. It is. Is it overhyped? Absolutely. I mean, Toyota has a tendency to make some overhyped cars, but I don't think that should take away from it. I think this car is significantly better than the GR Yaris. I think it's way cooler looking, handles better. Obviously, I've never driven either of them, so don't, you know, quote me on that. But it just looks really cool. It looks really interesting, and it's a fun car made by Toyota, and I have no problems with it whatsoever. Coming in at number 10, breaking its way into the top 10, is the Soarer Z30. This is the big boy, the Lexus SC300s. I love this car. They came with a 1J over in Japan, but they also came with a 2J over in Japan, which is where they came out with the Soarer Z30. And it is just so cool to me. I love everything about SC300s. If you follow this channel for a while, you know how much I love these cars. I want them to bring the Soarer back. Bring the Soarer back, Toyota. Why haven't you done that yet? The SC line and the Soarer line, some of the coolest cars you guys have ever made. I love them so much. Coming in at number 9. I'll get number 9 large. Number 9 is the GR86, friendo. This is the second generation of the 86 family. Technically third if you want to count the AE86, but second gen. It's the newest one. Everybody on YouTube has one for some reason, and they all like do weird things with them. I like it a lot, actually. I don't like the looks better, if I'm being honest. I think the first generation BRZ looks, or GT86 looks a whole lot better than the new GR86. But in terms of performance, it is just better in every single way than the old one. So for that, obviously it gets the position a lot higher than it. I do wish that they just went a little bit better with this car. Okay, bro, like this is not... Can't really do that, friend. All right, walking in the middle of the road with a wheelchair. I get that there's no sidewalk here, but you could go a little bit closer to the side, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Coming in at the number 8 spot is going to the first generation Toyota Celica. I love the first gen Celica. Performance, yeah, it's horrible. It doesn't hold up in terms of performance at all compared to any of the other freaking cars that are in the top 10. It's like one of the oldest cars in the top 10s in the whole class, in the whole video, I mean. But it's so cool. Everything about the first gen Celica is awesome. It's rear wheel drive, banger. It looks like a mini muscle car, which is really cool. It's incredibly lightweight. You could swap a little like K series into this thing, and you're going crazy because of how lightweight it is. I like it. I like it a lot. The first gen Celica, I think, is incredibly underrated, and you could buy them for like under 10K, which is mind blowing too. But yeah, I think the first gen Celica absolutely deserves. So what was it at, number 8? Yeah, number 8. Number 7 is going to the MR2 SW20. This is like the most popular MR2, I would say. This is the one everybody knows and loves. Still has some snap overs here, but fixed most of it from the first gen, which is good. It just handles really well, looks really well, still had pop-up headlights. Everything about it is really cool. My dad owned an MR2 when he was younger, and he said it was a blast to drive. They're not fast in a straight line, just like all these cars are, kind of, to be honest. But it handles really well, and I like it a lot for that. It's just like, it's that like, oh look, a 350Z. You actually know that guy. His name is Juan or Jose. I can't really remember, but it's one of those. He's a good guy though. But anyway, coming in at the number 6 spot is going to the MK5 Supra. Before I hear any one of you freaking buffoons saying, "That's not a Supra, it's a BMW." Shut your mouth, shut your pie hole. It has a Toyota badge on it, it's in the list. Obviously, yes, it comes with a BMW motor, but I know everybody else hates that. I personally don't, because I love BMW, so I'm fine with the Supra coming with a BMW motor. But the car looks so good. It looks incredible. Like, they outdid themselves. Yes, it would have looked better as the concept car. The concept car looked incredible, but I still think the MK5 Supra looks unbelievably good. It also handles really well, obviously. It has a manual transmission in 2023, which is very hard to find. I like it a lot. It also comes with different engine options, which is also hard to do nowadays, so that's pretty cool. Coming in at number 5 is going to the Soarer ZX90P, my friend. This is getting a lot of more praise recently. The Soarer is becoming one of those cars that you're starting to see everybody talk about, like the MK4 Supra, the NSX, the FDRX7, the R34 GTR. It's starting to become one of those cars. They're getting a little overrated, but they're still incredible cars, dude. A sedan from Japan with a manual transmission, tons of space, rear wheel drive, incredible motor is just, it's just a blessing. It's a blessing. They also just like look so well with the most simple mods on them. Like, I don't know what Toyota was doing, but they snapped when they made the freaking JZX100. I love the JZX100. Yes, it is getting a little overrated, and if you don't like drifting, you probably have zero purpose in buying a Soarer, but I like drifting. I like the Soarer. It looks pretty cool. Coming in at number 4 is going to the Toyota 2000 GT. This is the Toyota that started it all. Everybody knows and loves the 2000 GT. They're really expensive. They're very old. Grandpas used to drive them. Used to drive these babies for miles, the Pilgrims, whatever. I personally don't really understand all the hype behind it. I get that it's the first, like one of the very first Toyota sports cars, and it was really influential. I get that part, and that's why it's so high on this list. But in terms of like, if I would actually buy one, no, probably not. But I also wouldn't buy like any car from the 60s, to be honest, so keep that in mind. Either way, coming in at the number 3rd position is going to the Toyota AE85 Sprinter Trueno, however you pronounce it. The initial D-boy delivering tofu and eating poop on the side of it. It's a cool car, I'm not gonna lie. I like it a lot. One of the most overrated JDM cars in my opinion, though. I said it. I'm not afraid to say it. I think the AE86 is one of the most overrated JDM cars ever built, but I do like it a lot. It's very interesting in terms of that guy did a pull in the tunnel, so I had to do a pull in the tunnel in my bone stock and Teggy. Where was I? Oh yeah, AE86, really cool car, dude. I like it. I think it's overrated, but it doesn't, just because it's overrated doesn't mean it's bad. It's definitely not. It is one of the coolest Toyotas ever built, especially since like when they did it, it was kind of like a way for them to say like goodbye to the rear wheel drive Corolla, because they were going to start making all their Corollas as front wheel drive. So they gave one more rear wheel drive Corolla to the world, and it was a great one. It was such a cool story behind it. Like everything about I love the Corolla. You guys should definitely watch. I did a deep dive on it, so if you want to watch mine, you know, I'd really appreciate it. But even if you just watch any sort of video talking about the impact that the AE86 actually had, you could see why people like it so much. It is a really good car. Second place is, I want to see if you guys can guess this one. Just try to think of it in your mind. Think of the 2 cars that I'm missing. One of them are very obvious that I'm missing because it's the most popular Toyota ever built, but I feel like nobody is going to expect this next one, which is in 2nd place, which is the 6th generation Toyota Celica GT4. I like rally racing. I love the looks of the 6th gen Celica GT4. Everything about it is awesome to me. I freaking love it. It checks all the boxes for me. It handles incredibly well. It's not overrated at all. It looks incredible. It's a rally car, but can be a track car if you wanted to. It can be anything. I love the 6th gen Celica GT. Whether it's a GT, GT4, doesn't matter. I like it. That's really cool though. R32 Mark IV. That is so sick. But that's really cool. I want one of those. But yeah, second place absolutely goes to the 6th gen Celica GT4. It was honestly almost 1st place, but obviously 1st place is the MK4 Supra. You knew it was coming. It deserves the 1st place spot, absolutely, 100% of the time. Is it overrated? Absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that it's not overrated, but is it the best Toyota ever built? Yes. Yes, it is. You can argue with a wall, man. If you want to tell me that the MK4 Supra isn't good, you're just wrong. It is incredible. In terms of handling, it's not the best actually, because it's a really big car, but in terms of just about everything else, yeah man, it's freaking sick. I love the Mark IV Supra. Obviously, the engine that came with it is one of the best motors Japan's ever produced. It was way ahead of its time. Still to this day, it's hard to beat a II JZX90 that's built. It's mind-blowing how great that car was. It does look really cool. Is that my car making that noise? No, it's not. Is it? It is. What the hell? But yeah, the Mark IV Supra, I like it. I don't care if it's overrated, dude. You could talk to a brick wall, friendo, because I like it a lot. I'm gonna go get McDonald's now because this video took freaking so long. How long have we been recording for? 30 minutes! Whoa! All right, yeah, I'm gonna go get some food. Thank you guys so much for watching. There's my list. If you guys want to, you could definitely put your top 5 Toyotas in the comments. I would really appreciate that. And let me know what other video ideas that you'd like to see. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.